So we just had the first project team finish from Ducere, so a group of MBA students, and they were working on helping us with our strategy around Indigenous employment, so improving the attraction, retention, development of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander staff.
It put me in the place on the complete opposite my normal job would have me in. As a government employee, I was actually having to work with a non-government organisation to help them better engage with government and service providers. So it helped me better understand my current job, but also how I had to think quite differently about how to support them.
It took them out of their comfort zone. They worked, they actually got exposure to some Aboriginal elders. They spoke with a lot of our staff. They interviewed staff internally as well as doing research. And some of them have said it's actually made them want to work in the sector.
Exposure to the not-for-profit sector and exposure to a large and complex not-for-profit like Save the Children can be, I think, a very defining leadership learning opportunity for many students.
The project team took a bit of time to get going as we sort of learnt each other's skills and nuances and behaviours, but once we realised that we had a mix of accountants, lobbyists, government employees and a range of other skills, we could work out how best to harness that, and actually it was an amazing team.
They presented 2 weeks ago. It was an incredibly professional presentation. I think we were all, as stakeholders, so impressed. I think the student group exceeded our expectations, in fact. And they came up with a solution, a roadmap, some benchmarking data and some suggested benchmarks for success that were very detailed and also very pragmatic. Had we paid a consultancy group to do that piece of work, I don't think they would have done a lot better.
When you're dealing with some of the most complex social and economic problems that our society faces, and that's what we do here at Save the Children, we need only the very best staff. And the more exposure we can have to students that are going through a really advanced educational program like this, the better it is for us.
They have actually accelerated a key piece of strategy work and planning work that we actually had on our agenda anyway. And speaking with some of the key stakeholders, we doubt, given the busy environment that we're all in and the scarce resources that we have, that we would have been able to do that piece of work in even in a year.
The hardest part for us at the end was actually disengaging from the project because we're so excited and passionate about it that actually almost handing over our baby back to Save the Children Australia was actually almost the most painful part for some of us. And to actually sit there with a client who were excited and passionate about the work we did as a university assignment, and then talking back to us about how they were implementing so many of our ideas and how practical and useful it was for them just in their everyday business, was a significant change from when I last studied at university, because it was so theoretical and it was just an assignment that I put in my drawer and an academic signed the piece of paper and that was the end of it, rather than knowing that it will keep going for an organisation.
We feel that the work that the students have done will definitely have an impact. We see this as having an impact on the communities that we work with, and also enabling the HR team and the Australian Programs team to really get traction on improving our recruitment, retention and development of Aboriginal staff.
Studying this MBA has been such an exciting and invigorating experience. It's let me into a world of study and opportunity that I couldn't imagine doing 6 months ago. I found the global faculty really helpful to understand the bigger picture around how some of the core competencies and the methodologies and the learnings within the course actually apply in the real world. It's taking the classroom into the industry partners and then taking it to the next step and thinking about from a Prime Minister's or a business leader or CEO's perspective from the real top down and how that applies. It's exciting now to be going to the second project, which is firstly so different than the first project. It's going from a social policy, workforce, HR issue to a major operational design, future business direction. So for me it's so interesting going so differently. It shows the diversity of the experiences you can get within the MBA.